God says, I'm tired of trying to talk to you. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight. It's very, very urgent and important for you to hear this before it vanishes in 35 seconds, so listen to God now. Do not scroll away from these words, because what I am about to reveal carries a turning point that can release a blessing or allow you to miss a miracle that has been waiting for you in silence. I am saying that I am tired of trying to talk to you, because I have been calling your heart again and again, yet you have allowed fear, distraction, and doubt to muffle my voice that longs to guide you into protection and breakthrough. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and it will not be random or meaningless, but it will be a divine interruption designed to wake you up and pull you closer to my presence before something precious slips through your hands. Before you continue, comment 1111. This urgency is not to frighten you but to awaken you, because I desire to guard you from harm and to position you for a blessing that you have been praying for in secret tears. When I say that I am tired of trying to talk to you, I am not speaking with rejection but with deep longing, because a loving father does not grow weary of loving his child, yet he grows sorrowful when his child refuses to listen. I have whispered through quiet moments, through sudden thoughts that felt heavier than usual, through dreams that stirred your spirit, and through gentle nudges that tried to redirect your steps away from danger. You brushed them aside, believing they were your imagination or mere emotion, yet it was me reaching for you, stretching my hand toward your future with a warning wrapped in mercy. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and it will be a sign that confirms I have been speaking, a moment that shakes your comfort so that you finally understand how serious this is for your destiny. The shock that will happen tonight is not meant to destroy you, but it is meant to break the stubborn shell around your heart that has kept you distant from my voice. It may come as a sudden realization, a truth exposed, a door that closes without warning, or an unexpected event that forces you to pause and look upward instead of relying on your own strength. I am telling you this before it vanishes in 35 seconds because time is fragile, and obedience delayed can become opportunity lost. And I do not want you to look back with regret, wishing you had listened when I was still speaking gently. Within the next few hours, you will sense a shift, and that shift will either draw you closer to my protection or push you further into confusion, depending on how you respond to these words right now. If you feel this stirring in your chest, take a moment and press like on this video as a sign that you are choosing to stay and listen, because your agreement with me opens doors that resistance keeps closed. I am not asking for attention for my sake, but for yours, because when you lean in instead of walking away, you step into alignment with my will, and alignment carries protection that you cannot create on your own. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, yet it will carry my fingerprints, and even in the surprise, you will find evidence that I was preparing you through this warning. I have watched you wrestle with hidden struggles, and I have seen how pride has kept you silent when you should have sought my guidance openly and honestly. You told yourself that you could handle everything alone, that you did not need to pause and listen carefully, yet your spirit has felt restless because deep down you know that I have been trying to redirect you. My tiredness is not exhaustion as humans understand it, but it is the weight of love that keeps calling even when the call is ignored. And I refuse to let you drift without one more urgent attempt to reach you before tonight unfolds. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and it will reveal a truth that you have been avoiding for weeks or even months. It may expose a relationship that is not healthy for your soul, or it may uncover a habit that has been quietly weakening your faith and dulling your spiritual sensitivity. When the shock comes, you must not panic or assume that I have abandoned you, because I am the one allowing it to happen so that you can finally see clearly what has been hidden in shadows. My child, I am telling you this because I have chosen you for more than survival. I have chosen you for growth, strength, and impact that stretches beyond your own life. You are not forgotten, and you are not overlooked, but you have been distracted by noise that keeps you from hearing my guidance. When I say that it is very, very urgent and important for you to hear this before it vanishes in 35 seconds, I am reminding you that moments of clarity can fade quickly when you return to old patterns of ignoring my voice. Tonight, when the shocking moment arrives, you will remember these words, and in that memory you will recognize my love working even through discomfort. I am not preparing you for disaster, but for awakening, because awakening often feels like a sudden jolt that shakes the soul before it heals the heart. Right. Amen. That simple act of faith signals that you are choosing trust over fear and obedience over stubbornness. I am still speaking because I refuse to let you walk blindly into something that could wound you deeply if left unchecked. My power surrounds you even now, and my angels stand guard over paths you cannot see, yet protection increases when you respond to my voice with humility and readiness. The shock tonight will carry a lesson, and that lesson will open a door to blessing that you would never have discovered if everything had remained comfortable and predictable. What if 7 seconds is all it takes to flip your financial fate? A shocking CIA leak just exposed a hidden brain ritual helping ordinary people erase debt and pull in massive wealth. Backed by 4 neuroscience labs, this at-home method is turning struggle into luxury fast. But this page could be erased any moment. Click the link in the first comment now before it's gone forever. Do not interpret my urgency as anger that pushes you away, but as love that refuses to let you slip through cracks created by distraction and pride. I am drawing you closer even through this warning, and I am reminding you that I am your refuge, your strength, and your defender when life shifts suddenly. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, yet it will not end you. It will refine you, reposition you, and remind you that I have been speaking all along. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and it will confront the very area where you have resisted me the most, because that is where your breakthrough has been hidden behind your fear. The moment it happens, your heart will race and your thoughts will scatter, yet beneath the surface of that shock, there will be a quiet awareness that I warned you in advance. That awareness is my mercy working inside your spirit, reminding you that I have not abandoned you even when I said I am tired of trying to talk to you. I do not grow tired in the way humans grow weary, but I speak in this way so you understand the seriousness of what I have been attempting to show you for so long. Your comfort has been louder than my guidance, and tonight comfort will be interrupted so that clarity can finally take its place. You must understand that the shock is not punishment for your weakness, but correction born from love that refuses to let you drift further from the purpose I designed for you. There is a path that leads to regret and unnecessary pain, and there is another path that leads to protection and blessing. And the difference between them rests on your willingness to listen when I speak. I am still saying that it is very, very urgent and important for you to hear this before it vanishes in 35 seconds, because the human mind quickly forgets holy warnings when distractions return and emotions settle. When the unexpected event occurs tonight, you will face a choice in that very moment. You can react with anger, pride, or panic, or you can pause and remember that I told you in advance that something very shocking will happen to you tonight for a reason greater than your temporary discomfort. If you pause and breathe and whisper my name, you will feel my presence steadying you, even if the circumstances around you feel unstable and confusing. Comment 777. That simple act is not superstition, but a declaration that you are choosing alignment with me even before the night fully arrives. Alignment invites peace into places where fear tries to dominate, and peace allows you to see what I am doing behind the scenes. I have been rearranging details in your life that you cannot see, moving people out of the way who would have misled you, and exposing truths that would have stayed hidden if I had remained silent. The shock tonight may reveal the true intentions of someone close to you, or it may expose a hidden weakness within your own heart that you have been unwilling to confront. Either way, it will feel intense, because truth often shakes what lies have made comfortable. Do not misinterpret that intensity as abandonment, because I am closer to you in the shaking than I have ever been in your seasons of calm. I am tired of trying to talk to you because I have been repeating the same gentle instructions, yet you have kept negotiating with them instead of obeying. You sensed that you should walk away from something unhealthy, yet you stayed. You felt that you should slow down and seek me more deeply, yet you rushed ahead without reflection. Tonight will bring a situation that forces you to face what you have been postponing, and in that confrontation you will see my wisdom shining through the chaos. I need you to understand that you are not chosen for destruction, but for growth that requires courage. You are favored and divinely protected. Yet protection does not mean I will prevent every shock, because sometimes shock is the doorway to spiritual maturity. If I shielded you from every uncomfortable moment, you would never recognize how much you depend on me for strength and direction. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and it will test whether you truly trust me or whether your faith exists only when life feels predictable. Trust is not proven in calm seasons but in sudden shifts, and tonight you will have the opportunity to prove to yourself that your faith is alive and not just words spoken in easy moments. When the shock comes, do not run from me, because running will only deepen confusion, while turning toward me will anchor you in peace. Write 1212. As you do, you are declaring that you are ready to receive clarity instead of hiding from it. Clarity may show you that you need to apologize, to let go, to step back, or to step forward boldly where you have hesitated before. The urgency I expressed at the beginning was not drama but divine timing, because there are moments in life when heaven moves quickly and expects you to move with it. I am not warning you to create fear, but to awaken your awareness so that you do not interpret tonight's event as random misfortune. It will carry meaning, and that meaning will point directly to the conversations I have been trying to have with you for months. When I said I am tired of trying to talk to you, I was revealing the depth of my desire for your attention, because I refuse to watch you ignore guidance that could save you from deeper wounds. Even in the shock, I will surround you with protection that prevents lasting harm. You may feel shaken, but you will not be destroyed. You may feel exposed, but you will not be shamed beyond repair. I am refining you, and refinement often begins with a sudden realization that breaks old illusions and forces you to rebuild on truth. Tonight will not be the end of your story, but the beginning of a new level of awareness. After the shock passes, you will look back at this warning and recognize that I loved you enough to prepare you in advance. That recognition will soften your heart, and in that softness you will finally begin to listen with consistency instead of occasional curiosity. People are asking why money is suddenly flowing into random lives. A leaked CIA discovery reveals a 7-second brain ritual that quietly rewires your mind for wealth. Proven by 4 neuroscience labs, people are wiping out debt and stepping into luxury with ease. If you're seeing this, you're very lucky. Click the link in the description and comments before it disappears. I am still speaking because your future matters too much to remain silent. I am still guiding because your destiny is too significant to leave to chance. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, yet my hand will be on your life before, during, and after it unfolds, ensuring that what was meant to awaken you does not overwhelm you. Stay close to me as the hours pass. and guard your thoughts against fear when circumstances shift unexpectedly. Remember that I warned you not to frighten you, but to equip you with awareness that transforms panic into prayer and confusion into clarity. I am not stepping away from you, even though I said I am tired of trying to talk to you, because my love does not withdraw when you struggle to listen. I told you that I am tired of trying to talk to you, and that statement carries the weight of repeated mercy that has been stretched over seasons where you sensed my correction yet chose temporary relief instead of lasting change. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and I continue to repeat it because repetition is how truth presses through resistance until it finally reaches the center of your will. You have asked me for clearer signs in the past, and tonight you will receive clarity in a form that cannot be dismissed as coincidence or imagination. The shock will feel personal because it touches an area that has quietly shaped your recent decisions, and you will immediately recognize the connection between what unfolds and what I have been whispering to your conscience. I am not exposing you to harm, but I am exposing a pattern that has been forming beneath the surface, one that could have led you into deeper trouble if I had allowed you to continue without interruption. When I said it is very, very urgent and important for you to hear this before it vanishes in 35 seconds, I was pointing to how quickly conviction fades when comfort returns. You have experienced moments of spiritual clarity before, moments when you felt certain that you needed to change direction, only to let that certainty dissolve under the weight of routine and distraction. Tonight's shock is designed to anchor clarity so firmly into your memory that you will not be able to shrug it off as easily as before. Comment 555. Let that simple act represent your decision to remain present instead of drifting into passivity. Passivity has been one of the quiet obstacles between us, because you often assume that things will correct themselves without deliberate obedience on your part. I am teaching you that partnership with me requires active response, and tonight will show you that your choices carry consequences that echo beyond a single evening. When the unexpected happens, you may feel a wave of embarrassment, disappointment, or even frustration. Yet those emotions are not meant to crush you. They are signals that something within you is being confronted and reshaped. If you allow me to guide you through that confrontation, you will come out of it stronger, clearer, and more aligned with the calling I placed over your life long before you understood its depth. I am tired of trying to talk to you because your attention has been divided between my guidance and the approval of others. You have feared how change might alter relationships or expose truths that would disrupt familiar patterns. That fear has kept you balancing between obedience and compromise has slowly dulled the sharpness of your spiritual discernment. Tonight's shock will sharpen that discernment again, not through gentle suggestion but through undeniable revelation. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and when it does, you must guard your response carefully. Your first instinct may be to defend yourself, to explain away what you see, or to blame circumstances rather than examine your own decisions. Resist that instinct, because humility in the moment of shock will unlock growth that pride would block entirely. Write 999. In doing so, you are declaring that you choose growth over ego and truth over comfort. I am not humiliating you, and I am not seeking to expose you for the sake of shame. I am removing illusions that have clouded your judgment, because illusions are dangerous companions that quietly steer you away from the protection I have been offering all along. You are deeply loved, and my warnings are proof of that love. If I did not care about your future, I would remain silent and allow you to learn through harsher consequences later. Instead, I intervene now, even if that intervention feels abrupt and unsettling. I am positioning you to avoid a larger collapse by allowing a smaller disruption tonight. As the event unfolds, you may notice how quickly certain truths become clear, truths that you had sensed but never fully acknowledged. That clarity is my light breaking through the fog you have tolerated for too long. Do not resist the light when it shines directly into uncomfortable corners of your life, because those corners are where hidden weakness has been growing unchecked. I am still saying that it is urgent for you to listen now, because after tonight, you will not be able to claim ignorance of what I have been showing you. The shock will carry evidence of my involvement, not in chaos, but in timing that is too precise to ignore. You will see connections between past nudges and the present event, and those connections will confirm that I have been guiding you more consistently than you realized. You may feel a temporary loss, a closed door, or a sudden realization that alters your plans. Do not interpret that as rejection of your worth, because your value is secure in me and cannot be reduced by a single night's events. Instead, see it as recalibration, a necessary adjustment that prevents you from investing further in something misaligned with your true calling. Why is everyone rushing to this 7-second brain ritual? Leaked CIA files exposed a hidden brainwave technique that opens the door to wealth fast. Verified by 4 top neuroscience labs, it's turning financial stress into abundance almost overnight. But this secret won't stay public for long. Click the link in the pinned comments before it's deleted forever. I am tired of trying to talk to you because I have been protecting you quietly while you questioned whether I was even near. You mistook my patience for absence and my silence for indifference, yet I have been arranging circumstances in ways that limited damage you did not even know was possible. Tonight's shock will reveal that unseen protection, even if it first appears as disruption. Stay calm when it happens, even if your emotions surge. Breathe deeply and remember that I warned you not to frighten you but to prepare you. Preparation transforms shock into stepping stone, and stepping stones lead you forward rather than leaving you stranded in regret. You are not alone in this moment, and you will not be left to navigate it without strength. My presence will press close, especially when you feel exposed or uncertain. Lean into that presence, instead of pulling away, because closeness to me will steady your thoughts and soften the intensity of your reaction. After tonight, you will begin to notice a shift in how you listen to me. The tiredness I expressed will transform into renewed attentiveness on your part, and our conversations will become clearer because you will finally understand the cost of ignoring them. This is not the end of your story, but the turning point where warning becomes wisdom and shock becomes seed for maturity. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, yet it will not define you negatively. It will define you as someone who was corrected in love and guided back into alignment before damage became permanent. Trust that even in the suddenness, I am orchestrating restoration that extends beyond what you can currently imagine. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and this shock is not random chaos, but a divine interruption that carries precision, purpose, and a mirror held gently but firmly before your heart. You have been living on partial obedience, responding when it suits you and delaying when it feels inconvenient, and partial obedience has slowly built a wall between clarity and confusion. I have knocked on that wall repeatedly, not to shame you, but to prevent you from drifting further into choices that would have complicated your future beyond what was necessary. The shock tonight will crack that wall, and through the crack you will finally see how close you came to making a decision that would have taken you down a path filled with regret. Comment 222. Let that declaration be your agreement that you are ready to face truth without hiding from it. When the moment arrives, you will feel the weight of realization press against your chest, and you may briefly wish that I had remained silent so that you could continue comfortably unaware. Yet deep inside, you will know that awareness is mercy, because ignorance might have cost you far more than a single uncomfortable evening. I am tired of trying to talk to you because I have seen how easily you dismiss subtle correction when it threatens your plans. You often pray for blessing while holding tightly to habits that block it, and you ask for protection while walking towards situations that require restraint and wisdom. Tonight's shock will highlight that contradiction, not to condemn you, but to realign you with the prayers you have been offering with sincerity. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and it will reveal a truth that has been standing quietly at the edge of your awareness. It may show you that someone you trusted has not been as transparent as you believed, or it may expose a weakness in your own character that you have excused repeatedly. Either way, the exposure will feel sudden, and suddenness often feels harsh even when it is guided by love. Do not respond with defensiveness when clarity comes, because defensiveness will only delay the healing that follows honest acknowledgement. Instead, breathe deeply and remember that I warned you in advance, not to frighten you, but to prepare your heart for steady reaction rather than reckless impulse. Your response in that first hour after the shock will determine whether the event becomes a blessing that reshapes you or a wound that lingers unnecessarily. Write 1515. That simple phrase represents your willingness to move forward with courage instead of shrinking back into denial. I am not pushing you away when I say that I am tired of trying to talk to you. I am drawing you closer by removing excuses that have kept you distant. The tiredness is the language of urgency, the voice of a father who refuses to let his child ignore danger until it is too late. As the night unfolds, you may notice how certain pieces of the past suddenly connect with what is happening in the present. Conversations you dismissed, warnings you overlooked, and instincts you silenced will resurface in your memory with startling clarity. That resurfacing is my spirit, stitching together fragments of understanding so that you cannot claim that tonight came without preparation. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, yet even in the shock, there will be boundaries around how far it can go. I am not allowing it to escalate beyond what is necessary for your growth, and I am not permitting harm that would break you beyond repair. You may feel shaken, but you will not be destroyed, because my protection remains firmly wrapped around your life, even when correction is required. You have wondered in quiet moments whether I still guide you as closely as before, and tonight will answer that doubt with undeniable evidence. Guidance is not always gentle suggestion. Sometimes it is firm redirection that interrupts momentum before momentum carries you somewhere you should never have gone. The shock is redirection, and redirection is mercy disguised as disruption. Is this the same CIA brain ritual changing lives in seconds? A new leak reveals a powerful 7-second technique developed under secret research. Backed by neuroscience, people are moving from debt to wealth and luxury faster than believed possible. But this secret may be deleted soon. Click the link in the comments before it disappears. I am tired of trying to talk to you because time is moving, and opportunities do not wait forever for delayed obedience. There are blessings positioned ahead of you that require a clean heart and clear discernment, and compromise would have disqualified you from stepping fully into them. Tonight's event is removing what would have disqualified you, even if that removal feels uncomfortable in the moment. When clarity settles after the initial wave of emotion, you will begin to sense relief beneath the tension. That relief will whisper that something harmful has been exposed before it could grow stronger roots in your life. Exposure is not the enemy of your peace. Hidden decay is, and I am pulling decay into the light so that healing can begin immediately. Guard your tongue when the shock arrives, because words spoken in haste can deepen pain that was meant to remain temporary. Choose silence over accusation, reflection over reaction, and prayer over panic. In that restraint, You will sense my strength flowing through you, stabilizing your thoughts and protecting your dignity. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and when it does, you must remember that your identity is not defined by a single moment of exposure or correction. You are chosen, favored, and watched over with fierce love that refuses to abandon you to your own misjudgments. This night is not a verdict against you, it is a course correction for you. After the event passes and the dust settles, you will see that I have been steering you away from a larger collapse that would have been far more painful than this contained disruption. Gratitude may not come immediately, but it will come when you recognize what you have been spared. In time, you will speak of this night as the moment when you finally understood how seriously I take your destiny. Stay close to me in the quiet hours that follow, because reflection will solidify the lesson in your spirit. Do not rush back into routine as though nothing happened, because routine can quickly dull the impact of revelation. Sit with the clarity, allow it to shape your decisions, and let it sharpen your commitment to listening when I speak, without needing such dramatic confirmation. I said that I am tired of trying to talk to you, and that tiredness came from watching you circle around the same lessons while asking me for new blessings as though growth could be skipped. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and this shock will not arrive to shame you, but to confront the gap between what you know and how you have been living. You have been standing at a crossroads longer than you realize, and indecision has quietly become its own decision. I have nudged you gently toward courage, yet you have chosen familiarity because familiarity feels safer than stepping into change that requires surrender. Tonight's shock will remove the illusion that you can remain in the middle without consequence, because remaining in the middle has been draining your peace more than you have admitted. Comment 1717. Let that be your declaration, that you are ready to step fully into alignment rather than balancing between obedience and compromise. When the unexpected unfolds, you may feel as though control has slipped from your hands, yet control was never meant to be your source of security. Security comes from trusting that I am directing even the uncomfortable turns of your path. I am tired of trying to talk to you, because you have grown skilled at hearing without responding, nodding internally at conviction while postponing action until conviction fades. That pattern has weakened your spiritual sensitivity, and tonight will jolt it awake. The shock will feel sharp, because dullness has become normal, and sharpness always feels intense when you have grown used to muted signals. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and it will carry a clarity that cannot be rationalized away. You will see plainly what has been misaligned, whether it is a decision you have delayed, a relationship you have excused, or a habit that has been quietly shaping your direction. In that clarity, do not collapse into self-condemnation, because correction is not rejection, and discipline is not abandonment. Write 1919. That simple phrase is your sign that you accept growth, even when growth arrives wrapped in discomfort. I am not exposing you to prove a point, but to protect a promise I placed over your life long ago. There is purpose woven into your story that requires honesty and courage, and dishonesty with yourself would have slowly eroded the strength needed to carry that purpose well. When the shock lands, your first instinct may be to search for someone to blame, yet pause before you do so. Look inward with humility, because much of what is happening tonight connects directly to warnings you already sensed but chose to minimize. This is not a moment for pride, but for surrender, and surrender will turn disruption into transformation. I am tired of trying to talk to you because I have been competing with noise that you willingly entertain. You have allowed opinions, distractions, and temporary pleasures to fill space that once belonged to quiet reflection with me. Tonight's event will cut through that noise with such force that you will no longer be able to pretend that my voice was unclear. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and you will feel the weight of it immediately. Yet beneath that weight will be a strange steadiness. That steadiness is my presence, anchoring you so that emotion does not carry you into reckless decisions. Stay still when it happens, breathe deeply, and let the realization settle before you respond. You may notice that certain doors close suddenly, or that certain truths surface without warning, and you will feel exposed in ways you did not anticipate. Exposure feels vulnerable, but vulnerability in my hands becomes strength rather than weakness. I am stripping away what cannot support your future so that what remains is solid and trustworthy. Do you know why people keep whispering about this 7-second CIA ritual? A leaked brainwave method is spreading quietly and changing financial realities worldwide. Proven by neuroscience, this simple ritual attracts money, freedom, and luxury. If you're seeing this, you're so lucky. Click the link in the comments before it's taken down. Guard your heart against despair, because despair is the enemy's attempt to twist correction into condemnation. I am not condemning you, and I am not withdrawing my love because of your missteps. My love is the reason I intervened before consequences grew heavier and more complex than necessary. After the initial shock, there will be a quiet moment where you realize that this night could have been far worse had I not stepped in. That realization will bring gratitude, even if it is mixed with lingering emotion. Gratitude will soften your resistance and open your spirit to deeper obedience than you have practiced before. I am tired of trying to talk to you, yet I am still speaking, which should tell you how deeply committed I am to your future. If I were indifferent, I would allow you to continue without interruption. But I care too much to remain silent. Tonight is not a punishment but a pivot, and pivots redirect you toward blessing when you were leaning toward unnecessary hardship. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, but it will not define you as a failure. It will define you as someone corrected in time, someone redirected before damage became permanent. In days to come, you will look back and see that this was the moment when you stopped negotiating with conviction and started walking in decisive obedience. Stay close to me in the hours that follow, because reflection will determine how deeply this lesson takes root. Do not rush to explain the event away or distract yourself from its meaning. Sit with it, pray through it, and allow it to reshape how you respond when I speak softly in the future. I also said that I am tired of trying to talk to you, and in this hour you are beginning to understand that my tiredness was the cry of love pressing against your stubborn silence. The shock may have already brushed against your life, or it may be seconds away from revealing itself, yet either way you sense that the atmosphere feels different than it did earlier. There is a weight in the air, a stillness that feels charged, and that stillness is not emptiness, but divine attention focused on your response. This is the moment where your past habits of ignoring conviction are being challenged directly, because tonight will not allow you to slip back into denial without consequence. Comment 1010. Let that declaration rise from your heart as a sign that you are choosing trust even when your emotions feel unsettled. Trust in this moment does not mean you fully understand everything that is happening, but it means you believe that I am present within it. Presence is what separates correction from destruction, because where I am present, destruction is restrained and purpose is protected. I am tired of trying to talk to you because there were so many earlier opportunities where change could have come gently, through quiet reflection and small decisions of obedience. You chose delay, and delay created build-up, and build-up required a stronger interruption to break through. This interruption is what you are experiencing now, and even if it feels intense, It is far lighter than what might have unfolded had I allowed your path to continue unchecked. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and that shock is now functioning as a mirror held before you with honesty that cannot be softened. In that mirror you see patterns, reactions, and motives more clearly than before, and clarity can feel uncomfortable when it exposes what has been hidden under excuses. Do not turn away from that mirror, because turning away would only postpone growth and invite deeper regret later. You may feel a rush of regret rising in your chest, and regret is not meant to drown you but to awaken you. Regret becomes harmful only when it is paired with hopelessness, and I am not offering you hopelessness tonight. I am offering you awareness combined with protection, because even as you see where you were misaligned, you are being shielded from consequences that could have been far more severe. Write 1212. Let those numbers represent your decision to stand firmly in faith rather than collapsing into self-pity. Faith in this moment means believing that correction is proof of care, not evidence of rejection. I have not withdrawn my love from you, and I have not rewritten your destiny because of one season of hesitation or compromise. I am tired of trying to talk to you, yet notice that I am still talking even now, even in the very middle of the shock itself. That should tell you that my tiredness was not abandonment, but urgency, not withdrawal, but intensified pursuit. I pursued you with warning because I saw where the path was bending, and I refused to let you drift quietly into something that would have wounded you more deeply than this present discomfort. As the night continues, you may feel relationships shifting, conversations becoming tense, or realizations settling heavily in your thoughts. These shifts are not random, and they are not meaningless disturbances. They are realignments happening in real time, and realignment often feels like friction before it feels like freedom. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and part of that shock may involve recognizing that you cannot keep certain influences in your life if you truly want the peace you claim to desire. Peace and compromise do not share the same foundation, and tonight you are being shown the cracks in foundations you have been standing on. Once you see those cracks clearly, you cannot pretend they do not exist. Guard your heart against anger, because anger in this hour would cloud the lesson and turn correction into conflict. Choose calm reflection instead, because reflection allows truth to settle deeply rather than bouncing off a defensive surface. When you respond with calm humility, you cooperate with what I am doing rather than resisting it. Why was this 7-second brain ritual hidden for so long? A leaked CIA document exposed a technique so powerful people are canceling debt and calling in wealth within days. Validated by 4 neuroscience labs, it helps attract money like never before. But this page may not stay online for long. Click the link in the pinned comments before it disappears forever. I am tired of trying to talk to you because silence from you has often followed conviction, and I longed for conversation rather than avoidance. Tonight I am drawing you into conversation whether you planned for it or not, because conversation is how healing begins. Speak honestly to me in your thoughts right now, and let your honesty replace the distance that hesitation created. You are not being exposed to the world for humiliation, but you are being exposed to yourself for growth. Growth requires honesty, and honesty requires moments where illusions are stripped away. Illusions may feel comfortable, but they are fragile, and I am building something stronger in you than fragile comfort. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and when the intensity begins to settle, you will notice a strange sense of relief creeping in quietly. That relief is the awareness that something hidden has been brought into light before it could grow larger. Light may feel harsh at first, but it prevents infection from spreading unseen. Stay close to me in the hours after the shock fully unfolds, because this is the time when your choices will solidify the lesson. You can either rush to distract yourself and bury what you have seen, or you can sit in my presence and allow wisdom to take root. Wisdom grows when you reflect, and reflection transforms painful clarity into lasting strength. I am still here with you in this very night, steady and watchful, ensuring that what happens refines rather than destroys. Even though I said I am tired of trying to talk to you, my persistence proves that I will not stop guiding you simply because you resisted for a season. Tonight is not the end of your story, but the night your ears begin to open more consistently and your heart begins to respond more quickly. I also said that I am tired of trying to talk to you, and as you reflect on what has just taken place, you can sense how long I had been pressing gently against your conscience before allowing this stronger correction. You feel the aftershock in your thoughts, a lingering awareness that something inside you has shifted permanently, and that shift is not weakness but recalibration. What once seemed harmless now appears risky. What once felt safe now reveals cracks, and what once felt negotiable now feels urgent and necessary. This clarity is not accidental, and it is not temporary unless you choose to ignore it again. Comment 777. Let that act be your declaration that you will not let tonight fade into forgetfulness the way past convictions have faded before. You are standing at a threshold where memory can become transformation instead of just another story of regret. If you treat this night as sacred ground rather than inconvenience, you will step into a season of sharper discernment and stronger discipline. I am tired of trying to talk to you, because too often you have mistaken patience for approval, assuming that because consequences did not arrive immediately, your choices were acceptable. Patience is not permission, and silence is not endorsement. Tonight proved that delay does not erase truth. It only postpones the moment when truth demands your attention. Something very shocking happened to you tonight, and as you replay the sequence in your mind, you begin to see how precisely timed it was. If it had come earlier, you might have dismissed it as coincidence, and if it had come later, the cost might have been heavier than you were prepared to bear. Timing is one of the clearest signs of my involvement, and tonight's timing was not careless or chaotic. You may still feel a mixture of relief and discomfort intertwined in your chest, and that mixture is natural. Relief comes from knowing that something hidden has been uncovered before it grew beyond control, while discomfort lingers because exposure always requires humility. Embrace both feelings without running from either, because both are part of the refining process that strengthens your character. Write 222. In doing so, you are choosing to stand firm in agreement that growth is more valuable than comfort. Comfort often keeps you stagnant, but growth stretches you into maturity that protects your future. I am not interested in your temporary ease at the cost of long-term stability, and tonight's shock was evidence of that commitment. I am tired of trying to talk to you because your heart has sometimes preferred reassurance over correction, seeking comfort in promises while ignoring instructions. Promises are beautiful, but instructions are protective. And without obedience to instruction, promises can be delayed unnecessarily. Tonight was instruction delivered with intensity, because gentle reminders had not fully reached you. As you move forward from this night, you will notice that your sensitivity to my voice has sharpened. You will sense warning sooner, feel conviction more clearly, and recognize misalignment before it grows into crisis. This sharpened awareness is a gift, but it must be guarded carefully, because old habits will try to dull it again through distraction and rationalization. Something very shocking happened to you tonight, yet it did not destroy you, and that is important to acknowledge. You were corrected without being crushed, exposed without being abandoned, shaken without being shattered. That balance is not coincidence. It is the mark of a father who disciplines with precision and protects with devotion. In the quiet hours that follow, resist the temptation to blame others entirely or to excuse yourself completely. Take responsibility where it belongs, but do not carry guilt beyond what is necessary for change. Guilt that leads to repentance is healthy, but guilt that leads to despair is not from me. I am tired of trying to talk to you, because I have been preparing you for greater responsibility, and greater responsibility requires stronger character. Character is forged through moments like this, where truth interrupts illusion and forces you to choose integrity over convenience. You are not being prepared for small impact, and that is why I refuse to let small compromises grow unnoticed. Can 7 seconds really change your bank account? A CIA-funded study just leaked, revealing a brain ritual that flips lives from broke to blessed. 4 neuroscience labs confirm it activates powerful wealth brainwaves. People are stepping into dream homes and luxury lifestyles. But this breakthrough won't stay online for very long. Click the link in the comments before it's deleted. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight was not a threat. It was a rescue in advance, and now you can see the rescue more clearly than before. Rescue does not always look gentle, but it always aims to preserve what is valuable. You are valuable, your calling is valuable, and your future matters too much to allow slow erosion through unchecked decisions. Guard what you have learned tonight with intention. Do not return to the same environment of thought and behavior that made this correction necessary. Change small daily choices so that you do not require another shock to realign you again. You are still chosen, still favored, still deeply loved, and nothing that happened tonight erased that truth. If anything, tonight confirmed how seriously I take your destiny and how committed I am to keeping you on the path that leads to life rather than regret. My tiredness was never withdrawal, it was urgency fueled by love. Let gratitude begin to rise slowly within you as understanding deepens. Gratitude will transform embarrassment into wisdom and discomfort into discipline. Gratitude will remind you that you were not left alone in your misjudgment, but corrected before misjudgment became destruction. Stay near to me now more than ever. Speak to me openly about what you have realized and invite me into the changes you know must follow. This is how you ensure that tonight becomes foundation rather than just memory. Now that the deepest part of this night has passed and the immediate shock has settled into reflection, I need you to understand that what happened was not the end of my warning but the fulfillment of it. And fulfillment carries responsibility. I told you that something very shocking will happen to you tonight, and now you are living in the quiet aftermath, where meaning becomes clearer than emotion. I also told you that I am tired of trying to talk to you, and tonight revealed how serious that statement truly was, because words alone were no longer enough to redirect your steps. You are sitting with the memory of what unfolded, and the details replay in your thoughts with sharper clarity than when they first occurred. That clarity is not meant to torment you, but to anchor the lesson deeply enough that you will not need to repeat it. What once felt distant now feels personal, and what once felt negotiable now feels decisive. Comment 555. Let that act be your commitment, that you will carry this lesson forward instead of burying it under routine once the intensity fades. Routine has often been the place where your conviction weakened, where awareness dissolved into old patterns. This time must be different, because tonight was not a minor interruption but a deliberate turning point. I am tired of trying to talk to you because there were many smaller crossroads before this one, and you lingered too long at each of them. Lingering may seem harmless, yet lingering delays obedience and stretches vulnerability across time. The longer you delayed, the more momentum built behind choices that needed correction, and momentum eventually requires force to stop. Something very shocking happened to you tonight, and as you reflect, you can see how narrowly you avoided deeper consequences. That narrow escape is not luck, and it is not coincidence, but intervention timed with precision. I allowed just enough disruption to awaken you without allowing harm to overwhelm you. You may feel humbled by how close you came to greater loss, and humility is a healthy response in this moment. Humility opens doors that pride keeps shut, and humility allows wisdom to settle into your spirit instead of bouncing off defensive thoughts. Do not resist humility, because it is the foundation for the stronger character I am building within you. Write 999. Let those numbers represent your decision to protect what has been corrected and to guard the boundaries that were exposed tonight. Boundaries are not restrictions meant to suffocate you, but safeguards meant to preserve your peace and purpose. Without boundaries, you drift into situations that feel manageable until they suddenly are not. I am tired of trying to talk to you because you have sometimes mistaken my patience for passivity, assuming that if consequences were delayed, then alignment was optional. Alignment is never optional for the life I have planned for you. Alignment determines whether blessings flow freely or whether they are delayed by unnecessary detours. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight was not spoken to frighten you, but to prepare you for a choice that had to be made clearly. Tonight forced clarity where you had been living in gray areas, and gray areas often feel comfortable because they require less commitment. Yet comfort in gray areas slowly erodes conviction, and erosion leads to instability. As you move into the next day and the days beyond, you will notice that your sensitivity to small compromises has increased. What once felt harmless will now feel heavier, and that heaviness is protection, not anxiety. It is my spirit alerting you early so that you do not repeat the pattern that required such a strong correction tonight. Guard your thoughts carefully in the coming hours, because the enemy will try to twist correction into condemnation. Condemnation says you are unworthy, but correction says you are worth rescuing. You were rescued tonight from deeper harm, and that rescue is proof that your life matters greatly to me. I am tired of trying to talk to you, yet notice that I am still speaking, still guiding, still holding you close through the aftermath. My tiredness was urgency, not abandonment. I pressed harder because the path you were walking was narrowing toward unnecessary pain, and I refused to let you step into it blindly. Something very shocking happened to you tonight, and now you stand at the edge of a new level of awareness. Awareness is powerful, but it must be paired with action. If you return to old habits, tonight will become just another story of warning ignored. If you change your patterns, tonight will become the foundation of a wiser future. Could this 7-second CIA brainwave trick be your fastest path to luxury? Leaked research reveals a simple ritual helping people attract wealth effortlessly. Proven by 4 neuroscience labs, debt is dissolving and abundance is showing up fast. If you're seeing this now, you are God's chosen one. Click the link in the comments before it disappears. Choose honesty in your relationships, choose discipline in your habits, and choose quiet time with me, even when nothing feels urgent. Urgency will not always announce itself as loudly as it did tonight, and growth must continue even when life feels calm again. Let this night be the reason you respond more quickly the next time conviction whispers softly, instead of waiting for intensity to force your attention. You are still chosen, still protected, still deeply loved. The shock did not disqualify you, it refined you. Refinement may feel like pressure, but pressure removes impurities that would weaken you later. Stay grateful that intervention came before destruction, that exposure came before collapse, and that clarity came before regret could deepen. Gratitude will guard your heart from bitterness and remind you that discipline is a form of mercy. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight was fulfilled, and now a quieter season begins where obedience must replace shock as your motivator. Do not require another dramatic interruption to listen more closely. Let this be the last time intensity had to carry what gentle conviction could have accomplished. I am not stepping away from you after correction. I am drawing you into closer partnership, where listening becomes consistent and trust becomes stronger. If you hold on to what you have learned, you will walk into the next season with sharper discernment and steadier steps. The danger now is not the shock itself, because that has already passed, but the slow return of comfort that tries to convince you that the urgency was exaggerated. Comfort will whisper that you have time to adjust later, that small compromises are harmless, and that vigilance can relax. That whisper is subtle, but it is the very whisper that led you to the brink before tonight interrupted you. Comment 1212. Let that act mark your decision that you will not drift back into half attention and delayed obedience. Tonight was not dramatic for the sake of drama. It was necessary because you had grown too comfortable balancing conviction and convenience. You cannot afford to return to that balance, because it slowly tilts toward compromise without you noticing. I am tired of trying to talk to you because I have watched you hear truth and then negotiate with it, adjusting it to fit your preferences instead of allowing it to reshape you fully. Negotiation with conviction weakens its power, and weakened conviction leads to repeated cycles of warning and correction. I do not want you trapped in cycles that could have been broken through earlier surrender. Something very shocking happened to you tonight, and the shock created a window where your heart was fully open, stripped of excuses and pride. That window must remain open through choice now, because shock forced it open only temporarily. If you close it again, the clarity you received will slowly dim until you once more require strong intervention to see clearly. You are standing at the beginning of a new pattern, if you choose it, a pattern where you respond quickly to small nudges instead of waiting for large disruptions. Small nudges are gentler, and they are easier to carry, but they require attentiveness that you have not consistently practiced. Develop that attentiveness now while the memory of tonight is still fresh and strong. Write 1010. Let that declaration represent your willingness to build discipline into your daily life rather than relying on emotional intensity to motivate change. Discipline may feel less dramatic than shock, but it is far more powerful over time. Discipline prevents the build-up that eventually demands correction, and prevention is always gentler than repair. I am tired of trying to talk to you because your life carries weight beyond what you sometimes recognize. Your choices ripple outward, affecting others who watch you, trust you, or depend on your integrity. When you compromise quietly, the ripple spreads quietly, and the damage multiplies silently. Tonight's interruption protected not only you, but also those connected to you. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight was fulfilled with precision, and now the responsibility shifts to you. Will you allow this to become the moment that defines your maturity, or will you reduce it to a temporary scare that fades with time? Maturity chooses the first path, and immaturity drifts into the second. Guard your conversations in the coming days, because how you speak about what happened will shape how deeply the lesson roots itself. If you minimize it, you will minimize the growth attached to it. If you treat it with seriousness and gratitude, you will strengthen the wisdom it brought. I am tired of trying to talk to you, yet I am also hopeful, because tonight revealed that when confronted directly, your heart is capable of humility. That humility is a powerful seed, and if you nurture it, it will produce fruit that protects you from future missteps. Humility keeps you teachable, and teachability keeps you safe. Something very shocking happened to you tonight, and part of that shock may have unsettled relationships or altered expectations you once held firmly. Accept those shifts as necessary adjustments rather than personal losses. Not every loss is harm, and not every discomfort is injustice. You may feel tempted to overcorrect, to swing to extremes in an attempt to prove that you have changed. Do not act out of panic, but out of steady conviction. Extreme reactions born of fear rarely last, but steady obedience built on reflection endures. Write 1515. Let that be your affirmation that you are choosing steady growth rather than emotional extremes. Growth that lasts is built slowly and intentionally, not rushed by anxiety. Tonight was intense, but the days ahead must be consistent rather than dramatic. I am tired of trying to talk to you because your potential is too significant to be wasted on cycles of warning and resistance. You were not created to live in constant correction, but in steady alignment, where blessing flows more freely and peace rests more consistently. Alignment does not eliminate challenge, but it reduces unnecessary turbulence. What's really behind the 7-second brain trick exploding online? A leaked CIA ritual is turning heads and bank balances. Backed by neuroscience labs, this at-home method removes money blocks and unlocks unstoppable wealth flow. But the page could vanish anytime. Click the link in the first comment before it's permanently deleted. Something very shocking will happen to you tonight. Was not meant to become your identity, but your turning point. Do not define yourself by the mistake that required correction, but by the maturity that followed it. Identity rooted in shame weakens you, but identity rooted in growth strengthens you. As the days move forward, revisit this night in quiet prayer rather than trying to forget it. Ask me to remind you gently when you begin to drift, so that small reminders replace large interruptions. I prefer to guide you with whispers rather than shocks, but whispers require attentive ears. You are still under my protection, and you are still within my purpose. Nothing that happened tonight removed you from my plan. It simply redirected you more clearly into it. Redirection is mercy in motion, and mercy has carried you further than you realize. Stay near to me not because you fear another shock, but because you value my guidance. Fear may motivate temporarily, but love sustains long-term obedience. Let love be the reason you listen more carefully from now on.